shifting gears, Monsanto GMO corn linked to organ failure study reveals. I mean, we've known this forever. In a study released by the International Journal of Biological Sciences, that doesn't get any more prestigious for those that don't know, analyzing the effects of genetically modified foods on mammalian, that's mammals, that's us, researchers found that agricultural giant Monsanto GM corn is linked to organ damage in rats. They study rats because they're very similar to us in their metabolic system, for those that don't know. According to the study, which was summarized by, and it goes on, 3 varieties of Monsanto GM corn, Mon 863, insecticide producing, Mon 810, and Roundup herbicide absorbing NK 603 were approved for consumption by the U.S., European, and several other national food safety authorities. And it goes on to talk about the effects from the journal were mostly concentrated in the kidney and liver function, the 2 major diet detoxification organs, but in detail different from each GM type. In addition, some effects on the heart, adrenal, spleen, blood cells were also frequently noted. There were, as there normally exists, sex differences in the liver and kidney metabolic system. The highly statistical significant disturbances in the function of these organs seen between male and female rats cannot be dismissed as biologically insufficient, as has been proposed by others. Therefore, we conclude that our data strongly suggests that these GM maize varieties, those are the ones killing the bees, induce a state of, and it says, heptarelia toxicity. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. These substances have never before been an integral part of human and animal diet, and therefore health consequences for those who consume them, especially over long periods. Now, this is very simple. If you produce a pharmacological variety of corn that produces a pesticide within it, or if you produce corn that will live when everything else dies when you spray herbicide on it, and it absorbs it, obviously it's going to attack the liver and kidneys and the blood. I mean, this is a 2-year-old can figure this out. Other bugs, and I've, again, interviewed top German scientists who first exposed this 5 years ago, other bugs will not eat this corn, or and they won't go to the corn pollinization process. Bees will. And the poor little guys are dying, and they've done maps of the areas where these corn are grown. I mean, you know, Monsanto knows what it's doing. It's like Satan runs it. We know Rumsfeld previously did. I mean, literally, is Satan in a red pajamas at the boardroom with his feet up? This is the corn that's in most our food. They know what they're doing. They don't care. I mean, Mike Adams, I had a magazine reporter interviewing me last night, and I kept saying, he said, you know, you can't just say Monsanto's doing this and knows what they're doing. You can't, that's irresponsible. And I said, sir, it's mainstream news. And he just looked at me like I was crazy, because he can't believe, because he's a nice person, that this is really going on. I mean, folks, it's going on, okay? Mike Adams.
Well, people need to understand that human nature can be far darker than you've been led to believe. If you live in a civilized society, you don't see what goes on behind the closed doors of corporate boardrooms, where the real selfishness and the evil and the destructiveness of some of these individuals is unleashed through their corporate agendas. And I agree with you that Monsanto, in my opinion, is one of the most dangerous corporations on our planet. And they are, in my view, poisoning the food supply. I don't know if you've had Jeffrey Smith on your show from seedsofdeception.com, right?
We sell it. We sell his books and videos.
Everyone needs to read his material and watch his documentaries. He presents information that will blow your mind. And it's so shocking that the mainstream journalists just can't accept it. And it gets back to this question of what is wrong with people's thinking skills these days. How come they can't question things? Like,
close to 90% of people in San Diego that were interviewed said ban free speech.
Yeah, I remember Dice was out there trying to sell an ounce of gold, a gold coin for what, $50 or $20. It was an ounce of gold. It's worth, what, $1,100 or more. No one would buy it. I mean, what's wrong with people these days? I don't have the answer to that, Alex.
The average adult watches 2.5 hours. This is the latest numbers from 2009 from Nielsen. 2.5 hours of internet TV a week, 4.5 of television. They're mesmerized. They're not awake. People are zombies.
Yeah, they really are. And I think if you remember the old zombie movies, and the zombies attack, and you would have fields of mindless people wandering around society, attacking each other, that really isn't too far off from what may be coming at some point here in the real world, with just people not having the ability to think for themselves, to question the information they're given, to even take care of their own bodies or immune systems, or to defend themselves against bad information that's coming their way. I've seen America, many Americans have fallen asleep. They've forgotten what America stands for, which is rugged individualism, liberty, freedom, thinking for yourself, and standing up against tyranny rather than conspiring with it. And I just hope that in our lifetimes, Alex, and hopefully in the next few years, we can see Americans take back America, take back what it stands for, what it was founded on, and what we all are owed, our God-given rights to liberty, to health, to access to information. This is what we all deserve, and we must take it back, Alex.
Well, I want to say this to the police and military listening, who are going to be the enforcers of this system. You are drinking poison water. You are eating poison food. I know it's hard to believe. Please read the thousands of studies on GMO. I mean, I've interviewed former head scientists who would say it's killing half the rats. You can't approve this potato in the 1990s, and it's approved. You can't feed them this corn. It's killing the rats. And they do it.
But you see, part of it might be that they want to kill the rats, that we are the rats. We're the rats, and they want to kill us.
No, I know exactly. That's the end game. Mike, I know it's the end game. But I'm saying the average cop driving along right now, he's like, hey, my corn taco, you know, when he pulls into a Mexican food drive-through window, you know, it's fine. But no, it's turned out they sell this corn at below regular prices to all the major chains. This is what you're getting as food filler in cereals and in everything. I mean, and they're GMOing all the other major grains and the soybean, and they're now moving into hundreds of other things, and they're shutting the farms down. I mean, folks, you are being killed. I mean, and
sugar beets now, genetically modified sugar beets, are now approved and being used to produce processed sugar. So, you know, now you have what, high fructose corn syrup, which is called liquid Satan by some people because it's so bad for your health. And now you have genetically modified sugar as the mainstream sugar source in the food supply.
And then the Washington Post, I'm sorry to interrupt, then the Washington Post reported last year 50% of the corn syrup has high levels of mercury, and they don't know why. It's not even involved in the process. I mean, folks, they're hitting you and hitting you hard, and now we're exposing them, so they say, you know what, mercury's good. In fact, guys, pull up 50% of corn syrup has mercury, Washington Post for folks. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Well, the problem here is, and I understand this, but even people listening to this may be thinking to themselves, well, what am I supposed to do? It's so overwhelming. How do we decide what to trust, what to not trust? How do we feed our kids something that won't poison them? It's just so overwhelming. And there's too much conflicting information out there, but that's part of the game. The PR jackals for the processed food companies and chemical companies and drug companies, they want you to be confused, because in your confusion, you will default to whatever you've been shown on television and whatever you've been told by authorities.
And, Mike, it's just like poisoning animals that they want to get rid of. They'll poison their water supply with a slow-acting poison. And so the animals don't drop dead right on the spot, so the wild dogs or whatever they're poisoning drink it and a month later die. And that's what the UN said they would do. I have all these government documents where they said we will introduce it into the food, into the water, and we will brain damage people and then kill them. And they're doing it. And the public can't even get angry right now because they're on a toxic sedative, fluoride.
That's exactly it. You nailed it. I mean, it's kind of a brilliant, evil genius conspiracy to first numb the population and then just sort of kill them off slowly through the food supply. Well, they've already accomplished most of that goal, and the rest is coming.